Good morning. My name is John, and this is the Homestead Diary. I've been thinking about water a lot. We experienced what was to us a pretty significant drought this summer, June, July. May, June, July. We didn't have rain at the homestead for, in the neighborhood of 2 months. Like there was an occasional sprinkle, enough that you would notice it, like on the board or whatever next to you, but not enough to really wet anything. And then we had that massive thunderstorm that, if some of y'all have been on the channel for a little while, you saw the occasion when we almost got struck by lightning because, it was raining for the first time in 2 months, and we celebrated by dancing. Well, my wife and my oldest daughter celebrated by dancing, and I celebrated by watching and videoing. And holy moly, pretty amazing. Anyway, since then, we've been getting regular rains, and things are kind of coming back. But what if we didn't have access to water during those 2 months? We wouldn't have a garden right now. Or we might have some semblance of a little bit of a garden, but there really wouldn't be much at all. Now, we don't have live water on the property. We've got a little pond that actually, surprisingly through all that, did not dry out, but it's not very deep. And if we were to attempt to use that pond for irrigation, I have a feeling that the recharge rate wouldn't be fast enough to provide us with the water that we need to grow a garden. Might be enough for the house if we're very conservative with it. And so I've been thinking about pumps that you can insert into your well that you can operate manually that do not require electricity. And apparently there is a company out there that makes a product they call Simple Pump. And I've done very brief research on it, but apparently they have models that can pump from as deep as 350 feet, which is significant to be able to operate a manual pump like that. I don't know exactly how deep our well is. I know that well records are something that are required to be kept at various courthouses and whatnot, and so we'll be checking that out. And so really that's why I'm making this video, is to remind myself and my wife to go by the courthouse and have a look at what the records say for well depth, and that way we could size a manual pump. Now what's interesting, and this has to do with something that I don't know about yet, is Simple Pump designed their pump to where if you have, and I might be wrong on this because I read it last night, late at night, but talking about if you have a 3 or 4 inch diameter well, then Simple Pump would be inserted and used in place of your well pump. And if you have, I think it's 6 inch or above, then you can insert it next to the pipe that that goes down to your pump. And so therefore you could have both a grid-tied system with a conventional pump and Simple Pump already mounted, installed, and operational. And so that's something to consider there as far as installation and what makes sense. One is a system that you would only install really in the event of an emergency, and then the other one you just have it installed and it's there as backup. And so it's something to consider. Now, in regards to cost, as I am fairly certain we don't have a shallow well, but they're shallow well models pumping from as deep as I think 35 feet, run in the neighborhood of around $1,200 to $1,400, whereas their deep well pumps run more like $2,500 to $3,000, depending upon the depth. And so that is something to investigate, and when we have the records, we'll know what type of pump we need in terms of the depth that it can draw from, and plan accordingly. Because if we have another drought, which is likely, it happens, everything goes in cycles, and for all the talk of, wow, there's this huge drought and people did it, yeah, right, not likely given the cycles of droughts throughout history, and anything that they want to tell you that makes you think that you're somehow responsible for droughts, you're not. It all has to do with sun cycles and earth cycles and atmospheric cycles, and you just got to be prepared to deal with it one way or the other. Anyway, just some thoughts for an early morning and talking about Simple Pump, and hopefully we can get something set up so no matter what, we still have water. Y'all have a blessed day.